So this is how the monitor came packaged up, 2 boxes. We have the monitor in there, and then we also have the monitor stand. So naturally, with it not being an Apple product, you don't get the Apple level of packaging. So the stand does actually come packaged really nicely. Solid aluminium as well. Wow, okay. That feels amazing. So this stand, yeah, is easily as good, if not better, than the stand that you get with something like a studio display. It is hefty. The build quality, the finish of it, it has height adjustment, it has swivel adjustment. There's a lot here. This is actually a really well-built stand. I'm actually more than surprised at this. This is really, really good. So yeah, we actually get a box within a box here. There we go. That looks more like an Apple box to me, doesn't it? Not as fancy as an Apple box. There we go. We are looking good. Oh, nice. Okay, I've got to move the camera so that you guys can see this. This is the panel itself. That is really, really nice. If I lay it the other way around so that you guys can see. This is the solid aluminium panel. They do another version which has perforated a design literally exactly like the Pro Display XDR actually. We also have 3 USB-C ports here. We have a display port and we have a HDMI port, which means we should be able to connect a games console if you want to connect a games console to a 5K monitor. However, I do expect that when you connect a games console to this, it's probably just upscaling it to 5K. You're not actually going to get a 5K resolution. Then of course we have the power input as well. Very clean on the back, very minimal, like super minimal design. And of course we have the part where we can attach the monitor as well, the monitor stand. But let's look at what else is in the box. I'm actually going to move this aside. So in the box we have a VESA mount adapter, which is actually a really nice inclusion because it means you can choose to either have the stand or not. When you do buy the monitor, the stand is extra. So you are paying extra for the stand if you want the stand. I would actually probably recommend, if you don't care too much about having a nice stand, yeah, the VESA mount adapter is going to be completely fine. We have 2 boxes of cables. I assume there's one with a power cable and stuff. So, wait, is there a remote? There's a battery. Power cable. We have a USB memory USB dongle. Not sure. USB drive. You see, I don't even use it anymore. I've forgotten what they're called. We also have some adapters for the USB-C. I assume this is for the VESA mount adapter in here as well. And then we have a USB-C to USB-C cable, which is what will most likely be used to connect to my MacBook. And then what else do we have in here? We do have a remote. Wow. That is so interesting to me. A remote for the monitor, for a 5K monitor. I'm really interested to see what this remote can do because I can see, if I get it out of the packaging, I can see that it has a home button. So does that mean there is like smart TV functionality? Surely not, right? That'll actually be pretty wild if there is batteries for it. And of course we have HDMI cable and we have a DisplayPort cable. So it's really nice they've given all the cables that you would need. We have all 3 cables here to connect the monitor in whatever fashion you want to connect it, which is really nice. I'm glad they've included that. So I've been trying to figure out for ages why I've been unable to mount the monitor to the stand. And it's because I'm missing something from this little bag here. So I'm missing this little screw right here. I wish there was a manual because I had no idea. I was trying to figure out for ages as to why I could get the monitor on the stand, as you can see here, this stand here, but I just couldn't get it to like latch on. Okay, cool, we're in. I mean, it's not a completely smooth process having to screw something in. It's not as smooth as like an Apple experience, but hey, we're not paying an Apple price tag here, are we? There we go. So now with the stand on, we get quite a bit of adjustability. Let me zoom out so that you guys can see. So we get quite a bit of adjustability now. So we can raise the monitor, bring it down. I mean, the grinding of the aluminium doesn't sound ideal, but hey. And we can of course swivel it like so, tilt it even. And we can rotate it as well. So if you want to rotate the monitor 180 degrees, this would actually be quite cool. If If you want a 5K rotated display, that looks pretty cool. Yeah, 27 inches, 5K, really nice size. I feel like so much dust. I think 27 inches is a perfect size for a monitor. Oh, I didn't like that. It does, I think the stand actually needs to probably have a bit more weight to it, or it needs to come out more, because I feel like it pulls away quite easily. I'm being very picky though here. I'm just thinking about stability, making it as stable as possible. I also just noticed, didn't even realize when I was unboxing it, there's extra ports here. There's 2 USB-A ports and a headphone jack. Let's plug it in and see what happens, because I'm really interested to see what happens with the remote, to be honest. Like, there's a remote and I'm just thinking, what does the remote do? Well, there we go, it's on, it's booting. Now it's just obviously asking for the signal. So if I press home, what happens when I press home? Doesn't seem to do anything when I press home. Oh, there we go. I can choose the inputs. I've got inputs up here. I've got USB-C, DisplayPort, HDMI, and I think that's it. There's nothing else I can really do with the remote. So the remote is just pretty basic. It looks like they've just sort of gotten any remote just so that you can control the monitor. But I like that, because I really wish more monitor manufacturers would include a remote. Ever since I've got a remote with one of my LG monitors, I'm like, it makes so much sense to have a remote without having to reach around and look for buttons, trying to, change settings and whatever else. MacBook is connected. My MacBook has got, oh, it's worked straight away. Brilliant, amazing. I can already tell though that the edges are darker than the rest of the display. Like, it's so obvious on a wallpaper bright like this. By the way, if you guys are interested, this is part of my palettes wallpaper pack. I'll leave a link to it down in the description. But yeah, the edges are 100% darker. Quite noticeable with a light colored wallpaper like this. However, with the darkened edges, I'll be honest, in real life situation, because my Pro Display XDR is the same. It's not as bad as this, but when you're actually using it, you're not really looking at the edges of the screen that much. You're actually more focused on what's going on just away from the edge and whatever is in the center. So up to personal preference, some people might be like, oh, this is way too annoying. You can see the darkened edges. But for me, I've noticed from day-to-day usage with my Pro Display XDR, it has not been an issue. Interestingly, on my Mac, it comes up as the Koicon G27P. I thought this was the G27X. I know there are a few variations, but this is specifically the G27P. And we can see the scaling is set to the default. This is what we want, because this is a 5K display. Is 5120 by 2880, so we want it to scale perfectly. So you want to be half of the original resolution, which is 2560 by 1440. We can also see that the refresh rate is at 75 Hertz, not the standard 60 Hertz. So it is a little bit more than the standard studio display. Color profile is also the one that's built into the monitor. Color on the display looks okay, it looks good. I can tell though that there is a bit of a green tinge to it, because I'm comparing it to my MacBook display. And of course, Apple do a fantastic job of making sure that their displays look good from the factory. They're known for that sort of thing. When it comes to other manufacturers, it's not always the same. And I can tell with this one, there is definitely a little green tinge to the gray that I'm looking at compared to the gray on my MacBook display. I wonder if we can change it. If we go to, we can change the settings, but it is in Chinese. Can we change the language? Thankfully, when it comes to settings, there is a lot we can change here. You can change the brightness, the color. We can adjust it. The only thing is I don't have a colorimeter to get the monitor to be exactly color accurate. For a lot of people, if you're buying a monitor like this, you're most likely going to want the colors to match your MacBook display. See, what I'm doing here is I'm trying to see the colors. So I can see that, yeah, this has more of a sort of greeny, orangey tinge to it. I would definitely need to make this monitor color accurate. I would need to adjust the settings to get it to where I need it to be, because the colors are definitely not accurate. The design, the build quality, the bezels, like, it really does look like a studio display. The stand isn't exactly the same, but it's close enough. I think most people, unless you're looking twice at it, you just won't know the difference. Like, most people will just think, oh, it's a studio display. I wonder, because I have actually read in a few places now that the display in this is exactly the one that you get in the studio display. But looking at it like this and looking at the way I'm getting the color fringing when I'm moving around and stuff, I'm not sure it is the same panel. But it is very, very sharp. Like it is as sharp as you'd want. Like it's exactly what you'd want from like the Apple scaling, the scaling that Apple does on their displays. This is exactly what you want. It's perfect. I think considering the price of this thing, what you're really paying for is the design, this aluminium design. It is very high quality. Is it as good as the Studio Display? I don't think so, but it is close. The finish of it, the feel of it, the look of the aluminium, it looks like an Apple product. The stand really looks like an Apple stand. The mobility of it has a lot more mobility than the stand that you usually get with the Studio Display. You also get the VESA mount, but the feel of it when you actually do move the monitor up and down doesn't feel as smooth as the Studio Display does. But again, you're not paying Studio Display prices here. A monitor like this, I think last time I looked, is around $700-800, which I think is a good price. That's without the stand, by the way. You do have to pay extra for the stand, but I think if you get a nice VESA mount for it, or if you already have a VESA mount, monitor mount for your desk, I've recommended a bunch of monitor mounts on my channel in the past. I'll leave a link to some in the description. This is going to be fine. Like I actually think it might look even cleaner with a monitor mount on your desk. One last thing I wanted to try. PS5 connected to the monitor. Just want to see what happens. I want to connect it up to the HDMI port and see how it behaves. Okay. It works, and it works perfectly. It's definitely upscaling it though, but I can't tell. When looking at it, it looks sharp enough to me. This is fantastic. Like if you're someone who wants to also have your PlayStation connected to your Studio Display, it's smooth enough. Like depending on the games you play, if you're just playing story games and stuff, I guess 60 Hertz is fine. Like Spider-Man or Returnal. If you're playing FPS games, you might want 120 Hertz, but wow, okay, let's boot up Spider-Man, see what it's like. It does look really good. It does look really, really good. But the colors look fantastic. Like, to my eye, the amount of monitors I use every day, to my eye right now, the colors look amazing. I'm sure, like I said, with the colorimeter and whatever, you could adjust it to make it look even more accurate. But sometimes, when colors aren't accurate, and are more made for your eyes to look better to your eyes, it can be more pleasing. So it really depends on what you want out of the monitor, right? Yeah, man, this looks so good. I'm so impressed. And obviously we are playing at 60 Hertz, but even at 60 Hertz with the graphics, it's not OLED experience, but it does look so good. Like, cannot deny. So yeah, if you're someone who's thinking, oh, I want a Studio Display, but I also have my PS5, which then I need another display for, but you want one display that does everything, this is a really good option. And of course you can connect to PC because it has a display port as well. So you have 3 different connectivity options with this monitor. So now I think the more important question is it worth it? Is it worth spending $700 on something like this instead of spending the obviously $1,500, $1,600 on a Studio Display? I actually think it is. Like for the Studio Display, unless you really want the Apple experience, the Apple product, this is like 90%, 95% of the way there. In terms of the build, the design, the quality of it, it is 95% of the way there. The only thing that obviously definitely needs adjusting is the color, the display itself, the coloring of the display itself. I think if you can get a colorimeter, you can put it on the monitor, do all the sort of color testing and stuff and just make it accurate, it will be amazing. Like it is pretty much exactly the same as a Studio Display. It also does charge the MacBook. So you have the one cable set up. I don't exactly know how much it charges at, how many watts, but I'll put it on screen. But yeah, it does charge the MacBook the same time as it's connected. So that's really nice. If you have a MacBook, knowing that you can have a one cable set up, you just connect one cable to your MacBook and you have power and data over the one cable. Fantastic. You also have the benefit of the other ports. You have 2 other USB-C ports on the back which you can use, and you have 2 USB-A ports and a headphone jack all there. So you can pretty much connect all of your accessories directly to the monitor without actually having to touch your MacBook. Apart from If you are using Thunderbolt devices, so if you have a Thunderbolt drive or Thunderbolt dock, you should definitely connect those directly to the Mac so that you get the speed. But as long as you're not connecting Thunderbolt devices to the display, you should be fine. I think the USB ports will be fine. I'll leave links to everything down in the description below. Make sure to check out one of my other videos. I did a monitor sort of buying guide, and I did a Mac buying guide as well. And I also had Mac apps as well. I've done a bunch of videos recently on just like everything to do with Mac. So make sure to check those out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and subscribe for more.